like to talk about things that people can relate to on this album. I talk about alcoholism. I talk about my home life. I talk about the car accident I just got into. I talk about a bunch of things because those are things that other people are going through. And if once you establish a connection with them, then it's like, okay, I'm joining him on this journey because he reminds me of me. What he's talking about, I can relate to.
All right, bet, man. How you doing this evening? Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm blessed. How are you?
I'm fantastic, man. You had a relaxing evening. How's it going for you, man? I see you sipping water.
No,
I got my water. No.
no, I got a toddler, bro. There's no, there's no such thing as a relaxing evening.
How old exactly?
2.5. So it's chasing upstairs, downstairs. It's crawling on walls, throwing.
Yeah.
It's a whole lot of madness going on. So
Yeah. Once they get wheels, man, they don't stop moving them. You know what I'm saying? Like you
I was
have to
so
be
excited.
faster.
I was so excited for him to be able to walk. Like every little stage, I was like, oh, he crawled a little bit. Oh, he hobbled a little bit.
For sure.
Oh, he a little bit. Oh, he ran a little bit. I can't catch him. I'm like, no, come back now. Come back.
Man, it's this. I have this theory because my son's a little bit older. He's 7. Well, he's a lot older, but yeah, like you get stronger and faster as they grow because you got to stick with them and like keep picking them up. I'm like, yo, it's called dad strength. If I lift you every day for the next like 7 or 8 years, I'm gonna be as strong as you are heavy. So like,
It makes sense. It makes sense. I'm waiting. I ain't there yet. I'm gonna have to do some more push-ups or something.
man, they're heavy. Like, I mean, I know it's only like 15, 20 pounds at a time, but like for an hour, 2 hours holding them like that, it's a struggle.
Yeah.
But yo, man, thank you for joining us. For those that are not familiar with Mattison, I actually wasn't that familiar with him either, and that's kind of my whole thing with HearRVA is like I'm learning about it. I love learning about music, so as I come across dope artists, we try to share them with you. And he slid across my profile, and I just was intrigued with the visuals. I had watched the video Undelivered. Really dope visuals, kind of reminded me of like the Colors aesthetic YouTube joint that they've had with like Masego and all these different artists. But I really like that. So I could tell you had an eye for visuals. There was another video you did. I forgot the name of it, but it was like, I Can't Stay, where you really had like a movie kind of motif going down. But you ended up sending me the album that you have coming out on June 18th. It's called The Intersection. And I listened to it 3 or 4 times, man. And I really enjoyed the album.
Appreciate you.
It's good ride music. So I wanted to give you this opportunity to kind of present yourself to Richmond and people that may not be familiar with you, because I wasn't, and I'm a fan now, man. So first question is just, how do you feel having this album? Because when I listen to it, it feels like more than just a collection of songs. Like there's a lot more that went into it. So how do you feel about a week out from putting The Intersection out?
This one, I'm nervous. I feel like this is kind of like a reintroduction for me, because this album is the first album I've ever mixed myself. It's the first album I've ever recorded, mastered, all that. I did all that myself. And so this is like my baby, like I just learned how to mix and master like 2 months ago. And a month before that, all those songs were recorded in 2 weeks. A couple, like probably like 2 months ago, I was sitting there with my engineer and I was like, I want to build a studio. I want to set up my own studio. I was always so much in like the writing of it and the creating of it that I never really wanted to get into mixing and mastering, because I just felt like if I did too much, it would ruin the creativeness of writing. But it was actually the opposite. Once I got my recording booth, which is actually, as you see, this horrible looking, on the outside it looked horrible, but on the inside I got some shit going on in there.
Okay.
But so I put that together, and then once I actually started mixing, I was like, yo, I can make my voice do this, and I can make myself do this. So that's exciting, to see the growth of everything. I put together like a collage a couple weeks ago of like all my albums, and I have like 13 albums from 2009. And I mean, there was like 20 something songs on each of them. And it's just like, to be in this position where I can talk about my growth and be able to be expressive where I couldn't before. It's just like, for me, it's like a maturation coming of age product. So
Nice. Well, I mean, you were hitting mixtape numbers with songs previously, but you said that this project came together, that you wrote it and recorded it in like 2 weeks. I
Hmm.
mean, I'm sure you were making music up until that point. What was special about those 2 weeks that you created an album in that time?
Just the creativeness of being able to be hands on with from the beginning, from when I would hear the beat to how I wanted to write the song, and I could hear because after the first so the first song I mixed was horrible, right? So
Always.
first one, I was like, yeah, I sent it to my boys. I was like, yeah, take a listen. And they didn't say nothing back. And I was like, okay, so it must be trash. So after that, I was like, all right. But then I started working with it. And the more I started recording songs, I was like, okay, I'm getting better. I'm getting better. And then I was like, oh no, this is good. And then once I got into the this is good bag, then I was like, I'm not gonna take a break, because if I take a break, I might lose whatever the inspiration is. And then the album was, next thing I know, the album was done. So
Wow. Is that your first time ever kind of having that process where it came together that quick, or is that kind of how you work normally?
it used to be a lot faster when I was younger. I don't know if every artist feels this way, but after I write a bunch of songs, I get writer's block. And it used to last maybe like a week, maybe like 2 weeks. But as I've gotten older, the writer's block is like 3 months, 5 months. And then, I have a child now. I got everything else going on. So it's hard to just lock down and sit with music. And I'm the type of person that I like to write about, as you heard on the album, I like to write about things that are actually happening in my life. I
Sure.
can't, I can't give you 17 songs about trapping or my chains or my da da da. It has to be like stuff that I'm going through. So as I get older, um, all those not exciting events, but it starts to do, because I'm not doing much. You know what I mean? I'm working, trying to survive. I'm being a father, and so that's what this album is mainly about.
Okay. Would you say that, as you get older, you need more time between albums just to kind of like have more life experience? You know what I mean? Like at a certain point, can you keep making the same kinds of songs like within a time period, or does like an artist really need space in between each one to gain a new perspective?
I feel like an artist needs space, but in the way that it's set up, the way that the industry is designed right now, you don't have that luxury. A lot of people don't have the luxury. Some people do. I mean, the Kendricks and the Coles, they have, time where they can sit down and their fan base won't be stagnant.
Mhm.
I don't have that type of fan base yet. So and a lot of people don't. So you have to kind of push out music at a constant rate. That was another reason I got the booth, because even if I'm not recording an entire album, I can put out an EP, I can put out a single, I can at least be in front of people's faces, so they don't forget me.
Sure. So how do we as like artists get to that point where we're respected for the quality of the work, not necessarily the quantity? Like, how do we get fans' attention span to be a little more focused as they would be on like a Kendrick or a Cole? I mean, is it all name recognition and celebrity in a way, or?
No, I think it's context, and that's the reason with my music, I like to talk about things that are actually going on, because I'm the only one going through them. I mean,
Mhm.
I like to talk about things that people can relate to. On this album, I talk about alcoholism. I talk about my home life. I talk about the car accident I just got into. I talk about a bunch of things, because those are things that other people are going through. And if once you establish a connection with them, then it's like, okay, I'm joining him on this journey because he reminds me of me. What he's talking about, I can relate to. But if you never establish that connection, it's like in the '90s when we used to watch wrestling, right? And we used to think Stone Cold Steve Austin, you had a glass break, and you'd really think he was going to come out there and stomp a mud hole in somebody, give somebody a stunner, and you were cheering for him. Vince McMahon came out, you were like, oh no, they're really going to take him to jail. That wrestling and this wrestling that comes on now, I see commercials and stuff, and it looks like the same wrestling, but it doesn't feel like the same. The connection's not there. You know what I mean? You don't, there's not buying into, because it's still the same stuff. So that's what I feel. That's how I feel about music. I feel like if you're not giving anything with like content or something that people can relate to, then you probably got to make a lot of music.
Mm. No, you're probably right. Honesty is the key. That's for sure,
Yeah.
man. So, you brought up this album and all, all the different life experiences and potholes that you've hit and the car accident. Like, the album starts, I mean, it starts with a cute moment between you and your son, but like it's quickly kind of overshadowed by the darkness of the second track. Not the darkness, but you know what I'm saying? Like the first one, it's like, oh, it's cute at the intersection, and you hear a nice, sincere moment from you as a person. You know what I'm saying? And I think that really sets the tone of the album. But after that, like again, you're honest with this point. So like, tell me about this crash and how it kind of sparked this project, or what it did in your artistic, creativeness.
Well, I'm a big believer in the universe and things happening not necessarily to hurt you, but to teach you something. Like I think there's a lesson in everything. And in the intro to the first song on the album, it basically goes from, I got into a lot of, this isn't my first major accident. Unfortunately, I've gotten into several major accidents. The thing about it was when I got into accidents before, they were my fault. I was either A, drunk driving, not paying attention on something, not driving the way I was supposed to do. And that happened in my early 20s or my teenage years. And then it's like I go all this time where everything's going right, everything's going right. And then this accident was the worst accident, but it wasn't my fault. I was minding my business. I was coming through a green light, and next thing I know, a Ford F-150 just comes out of nowhere and it's just smack. So the song is basically saying like it still comes full circle. Where I started, with all these things happening, I matured, I changed my life, I've done all these things for the better, but still in a second it could have been gone. If you saw the pictures of my car is
Yeah,
getting,
man.
you know what I mean? But I walked out without a scratch. So the lesson is like how much control do I really have over all of this growth? Is this even me? And that's the intersection. It's like all these things cross, all these things interconnect. The path you take, the ways you go, I just feel like it's all connected.
Yeah, I mean, I feel the same way. I kind of, hearing what you just said, do you get the sense that, you said things circle back, you end up at the same place with the car accidents and your album being the intersection? Do you think you're getting another go around at this opportunity, that maybe the last time you had a car accident, you went down the wrong path of the intersection, and now here you are again, and you have is that part of this process for you?
It's all about where you can take that energy, because I think anything can be. I think sadness can become depression real easily. I think anger can become fury real easily, and I think that the emotions that we go through and the things that we feel, if we don't understand those emotions, they can lead to something far worse. So for me, the intersection, like, okay, you totaled your car, somebody damn near killed you, you almost didn't make it home to your son. Now, I could be somebody who's bitter about that shit for the next whatever. I could be scared to hop in my car. I could be scared that whatever. I could have nightmares. I don't. I wake up fine, because it's like, not how do you, okay, you have the issues you're dealing with, but now how do you make that into something? And I almost looked at it like I didn't know what the name for my album was going to be. I didn't know what the theme for it was going to be. I didn't know what the story was going to be besides the songs I made. And the next thing I know, I'm like, concept, like right in my lap. I'm like, boom, there it is. That's the intersection. So
No, I mean, that it really, everything comes down to like how you look at it, and most things are out of your control, and so it's cool that you're trying to spin something positive out of it and use it as a vehicle to tell your story. You know what I mean? And speaking of that, in your album and on a lot of your songs, you are striving for this, whatever you want to call it, more mature perspective, more humble, more centered, part of growth. But there's also parts of like your album where like like in all humans, we kind of have some hypocritical moments or like callbacks to previous, versions of ourselves. And, is that something you consciously put into your music, or does that just kind of come out of you because you're being honest as a person?
It's it's a combination of a lot of things. I never was the type of artist that could just make one sound. Because it's just not me. It's just not me. It's not what I'm influenced by. It's not what I listen to. I mean, you could catch me listening to anything at any given moment, and then the next song could be something completely different, and that's how I make my music. And I feel like that's partially been a knock against me for a long time, because when I moved from Fredericksburg to Richmond, people knew me, but there's no sound for them to put me with. There's no, oh, okay, Chris Mattison, he sounds like Chris Mattison sounds like Chris Mattison. And these songs on the album where it's callbacks or it's confidence or it's anything like that, I'm a confident person. But my confidence isn't to take away from anybody else. My confidence is to amplify me. You know what I mean? So you'll hear those songs on the album, because I'm still trying to get my shit. I'm telling you a story, but I'm still like letting you know, like, hey, I'm here for a reason. You know what I mean?
Sure. No, that's dope. And you mentioned this earlier, and I really wanted to get back into it because I love, people that just learn a new skill. So going back to mixing and mastering, like, you wanted to take that control of your music. What was that process like? Because you said you taught yourself that in a month. Like, to me, I've never really mixed and mastered any of my stuff, so it scares the daylights out of me. You know what I'm saying? So, like, what was that process like for you?
Not as difficult as you would think, honestly. I've been with the same engineer since I was 16, and I'm 31 now. So we have we've been together for a long time, and I never separated because he knew my sound. When you get with an engineer that you're really with, you stick with that person, especially somebody who will tell you the truth and won't just let you go in there and record whatever you want to record. Because there's been times where I've came in there and I'm like, I want to record this, and it didn't sound like how I did in my head. But once I made that decision, I got on YouTube, and I tell people this all the time. YouTube and Google, you can learn anything in this world that you want to learn, you can learn, and it's free for the most part. And a year before I learned digital marketing. So that was every year I'm trying to learn some type of skill that I didn't have before. So last year, it was the digital marketing. So I was learning about Facebook ads and algorithms. He just called you Travis Barker.
I know, man.
Algorithms and all type of stuff like that. And this time it was like, I want to learn how to mix. And once you get the basics down, like my hardest thing was EQing, like hearing sound frequencies, because that's like the most subjective thing. What you hear and what somebody else may hear may not be the same thing, or somebody else's ears may be better than mine, and vice versa. But everything else was just kind of like, did that work? No. Did this work? Yes. Okay, let's do this again. Like, so.
No, that's really dope. How much time did you spend, on average, kind of working on it or trying to learn it and test things out for the mixing and stuff?
Every song took about 5 hours to mix. There were some that took more, depending on who produced the beat, because some of the beats weren't mixed the way that I would have liked. And so for some of them, I didn't have the track outs, so which is important. So kind of like, finesse with that, but usually 4 to 5 hours. And I probably could have finished them earlier, but I just wanted, I mean, it's free at this point. I got this booth, I got all the equipment, so it's like, well, nobody's charging me per hour, so I might as well sit with it.
Sure. I mean, if you've got no time constraints, why not put out the best version of it? No doubt.
Right.
Who did production on this record? Because there's a lot of dope tracks, and I just was curious, like, is there a lot of Richmond people, Fredericksburg people? Who are you pulling beats from?
There's not. I would love to work with people in Richmond. I'm gonna be honest with you. One of my biggest, man, I'll put this on me. One of my biggest knocks is I've never been too big on doing collabs. I'm a fan of a lot of Richmond artists. I'm cool with a lot of Richmond artists. But we don't work together as much as I probably should. I'm not anti. I used to say I was antisocial, but I'm not antisocial. I'm just like I'm a worker. You know what I mean? And it's like, I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna send it to you. Please send it back. It's, you know what I mean. But everybody's on different time frames, and I'm not the top of anybody's priority list besides mine. So you got to take that into account too. But as far as the production, it was just different people that I heard like on YouTube or, you know, different beats. Um, it's hard for me to stick with one producer because, again, my sound changes. So it's hard to find a producer that could do all of those things. Not saying it's not out there. So if you're watching this and you see it and you like my music,
Yeah, I was gonna say we definitely
yeah.
you know, should put this out as a little call to action for a lot of the producers that are out there. I see Dust right there already chiming in. So yeah, I to me, man, Richmond production is top notch. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Like across the board. So I'm always a fan of, like, you know, just collaborations in general. But I understand, like, you know, having a work schedule. What you need is just somebody send you a beat pack.
Well, yeah, and also, and you know, another thing too is like I like being in the same, like I don't like the digital age of just like make your song and then you send your song to somebody, then they make. I like to be in the same room, like chop it up, like a collaboration. Like a collaboration is like we collaborating on something. It's not like, you know, I do my part of the test and then you do your part of the test.
Yeah, you're going old school with it. But somebody asked, is there anybody that you know, would want to work with, as far as like sitting in a room and kind of making something?
I don't. Yeah, whoever. If you dope, you dope. I don't. I respect. I respect talent, and I respect people. Anybody that stands on something, that stands for something. That's it. That's literally my qualifications of people. You know what I mean? Just stand for
Yeah,
something and respect me. I respect you, and we get to work. And then if it's dope, we'll get to work several more times. That's how it goes. So.
cool. So I found, I was doing a little research and I found a quote from you that I thought was interesting. You said
Oh,
that, no, sorry.
right.
So back in 2003, when talking about the movie, no, I'm just playing. Um, no, but you said that, you know, coming from Fredericksburg, coming down here to Richmond, that you thought that Fredericksburg musicians had a better business sense,
Mm-hmm.
but that Richmond musicians made better music. And this
Mm-hmm.
was a couple years ago. Do you still feel the same? Have there been any changes in the scenes, either of them? Like, what have you noticed?
Well, I haven't. I'm a little removed from Fredericksburg's music scene, so I wouldn't know, to be honest with you. Um, but that's how I felt, and I don't mean like Fredericksburg it has better business people. I just mean that like the knowledge of the business from people I would speak with up there versus when I first moved down here, it was kind of like where I knew things that I expected everybody to know, and maybe they didn't.
Mm-hmm.
But then I got around people that knew more than I did, so it could be was who I was around at the time. Who knows? Um, but I do think that Richmond is like the mecca of like artistry. Like when I talk about like the projects that I like from this state that are put together like all like an artist project, they're all from Richmond. You know what I mean? The Radio B's and the Michael Millions and the Aaron Browns and it's those projects are like rep, my boy Rep, like they make
I
bodies.
got a rep shirt on, bro.
There you go. Yeah, yep. That's my man. So that's what I meant.
Okay. Now, did that kind of observation or feeling, did that have any part of the reason why you started teaching yourself digital marketing in that aspect? Were you trying to kind of bring that and plant that seed down here?
No, I started digital marketing honestly because can I cuss?
Yeah, do whatever you want. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah. I started digital marketing because people kept fucking me over.
Oh no.
Yeah. No, I've had horrible business deals. I've had people sell me hoop dreams and then shit not work out. I've paid thousands and thousands of dollars to get on all type of blog sites to get no um type of reaction from it. I've done anything that you can think about when it comes to music and trying to figure out a way through the door. I've tried to do it. I've tried to work with people that are considered like quote unquote gatekeeper. I don't believe gatekeepers are like a real term, but those people that would be in those type of positions, and it's always been like a, yeah, maybe later, yeah, maybe, yeah, we'll pass, we might come back. And then once I figured out how to do marketing myself, I was like, oh, I don't even need permission. I don't even need, I can give this to people and I don't have to pay $1,000 a time to get it. And they actually respond and comment and like go follow my shit. So once I learned that, it was but it's good and bad. It was good because it benefited me for more people to see my stuff. Like on Facebook, the undelivered video is at like 200, like 30,000 views and shit. Like, but the issue with that is that it makes me more isolated. Once you realize I can do this and I don't need necessarily help for that, then it becomes, well, shit, I don't want to work. If they don't want to work with me, I don't want to work with them either type.
Yeah.
And that's a faulted mindset, you know?
Yeah. You know, it sounds like with all the marketing and the mixing and stuff, like you're trying to kind of cut out the middleman in a lot of your artistic process. Do you think that at some point, if you keep taking more control, it will slow your process down at all, like of your music creation? Because like, you know, digital marketing takes time, thinking about videos and stuff, you know, mixing and mastering takes time. Like, is there a balance that you're, you know, still near or trying to figure out?
I don't think it's going to slow me down because the goal is to put somebody else in that position. I always say, and I tell everybody around me, it's like, if we go to the club and I'm the only one there that's rich, we all broke. You know what I mean? So, I mean, pretty much, like, who wants to be rich around 14 broke motherfuckers? You know what I'm saying? You want everybody to get it. So if I know the person that's with me has to know that too. So that I have to teach them how to do it, or whatever they know, they got to teach me how to do it. And that's how you build something that lasts. So when it gets to a point where it's like, maybe I don't want to do digital marketing on this project, but I've been showing my man how to do this for 3 years and I can get him paid off of this, I'm gonna let him handle that. Maybe I don't want to make my stuff anymore, but if I can put somebody else in a position, like, let's figure out how to open up a studio, let's build some booths, let's get some people in the door, like, that's how you make shit work. So
yeah, no, I mean, we completely agree over here at HearRVA. It's about, you know, harnessing the passion and the energy and the talent around you and pointing it all in one direction to kind of benefit everybody. And so, like, I mean, that's really dope. I'm glad that you're trying to build your team and your unit in such a fashion, man. What do you have anything coming on? I mean, I know that you're about to release this album, and usually with that, there's some other type of rollout. Do you have any like events or shows that you've got coming up to kind of promote the intersection?
I have videos coming out. I have been trying to book a show for about 4 or 5 months. And to say it in the most polite way, it hasn't been well received. So I know that a lot of this is who you know, how you know them, business relationship. So for me, who's not really out there as much as I used to be, it's a little difficult because I don't have the name recognition to be like, hey, I would like to do a show here. I can't say, hey, I would like to do a show here, and I also do digital marketing, so I know I could advertise to your business and bring such and such amount out. Because one, I don't have any examples of that
Sure.
that I can show from a show, so that's my fault. And then two, they're like, why would I take a chance on you when I got this consistent business every month? So I understand that side of it too. So I would like to do a show, whether that happens or not. Yeah, but I figured out other ways to make sure my music is seen in the meantime.
Fantastic. We're excited to see those videos when you do drop them. I mean, I saw that you were working on something on Instagram. You were out shooting like a couple weeks ago. Or maybe that's just when you posted it. I'm not sure. But yo, before we get out of here, I really want to give you the opportunity to tell people where they can best support you and this project, because streaming on Apple Music only does so much. You know, is it available at somewhere where people can actually get you more of a share of that money that they can spend on it? So
For sure. But right now, the Intersection releases on June 18th, and it'll be on all streaming platforms. Once that releases, I will have packages that I'm offering. I'm gonna have some merch that comes out with it. I'm also doing my own performance session that I recorded So I'll be using that as well. It's gonna be a lot of little packs. Earlier I said I had 13 previous albums, so I actually had a way where I was able to compile all those into one thing. So there'll be a package with that where purchase it, you'll get every single album I've ever done since I was like 18. So so that'll be dope. There's a lot of things that I have going on, but they won't be out until after the album drops. So for right now, just follow me, Mattison Music _ and I appreciate talking to you, and I'm glad that you had me on.
Hey man, no, thank you for coming on. Thank you for allowing us to check out the album. Like I said, I really enjoyed it. It's a good car ride through the city of Richmond. You know, I'm going to work super early at like 3:30 in the morning, so it kept me company on a to and from. Yeah, no, it was very good. I definitely appreciated the listen and the opportunity to speak with you tonight. I look forward to, you know, connecting with you in the future. And everybody, make sure you check out Mattison's music. I will definitely tag him so you can get to his page and link up with his music, and be sure to check it June 18th when it drops, man. Thank you very much.
And lastly, real quick before you go, man, I appreciate everything that you're doing, because you covered everybody and everything. And the reason I reached out to you, because I was like, I see this guy's name on everything. Timeline is just HearRVA, HearRVA, HearRVA. I'm like, who is this guy? So thank you for providing the platform, and have a good night, man. I'm about to go be daddy. So
yo, thank you. Enjoy being a daddy. I don't want to take credit for everything that we do. I got a nice team around here that really helps me out, but I will take it for them. So thank you very much.
All right, bro.
All right, man. Have a good evening, dude.
Peace.
Yeah. Wow. Now, I really enjoyed that interview. Man, thank you again, Chris Mattison, for joining on. If you're here still, I really appreciate everybody for coming in. Yeah, this is my Cheats Movement cup right here. I'm drinking water, by the way. So really appreciate it, guys. I'm illiterate for HearRVA. Me and the whole team that's not behind me. I don't know why I look back here, but the whole team appreciates it. You guys tuning in. So thank you. Be on the lookout for more stuff, because we are super busy. Reduceosaurus Rex. That's an extinct dinosaur.